How do you save money living in a very expensive area? What's the best personal finance advice you have for someone in their 20s and 30s? What's been the worst thing you've invested in?
Probably crypto. I will never in my life invest into crypto or NFT.
People who are younger than me, I think it's really hard right now, because income is not in proportion with having a decent quality of life.
I'm Vakola, coming to you from New York City. In this video, we're going to ask Brooklyn residents some street interview questions. When people think about New York City, they usually think about the Manhattan skyline and the Times Square billboards. But listen, Brooklyn is actually the most populous borough in New York City with over 2.5 million residents. From Williamsburg all the way to the historical brownstones in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn has a lot of income diversity, racial diversity. It's a very diverse place. And today we're going to be asking Brooklyn residents how they spend and save their money, and also how they invest their money. If you want to see more videos like this, please make sure to tap that like button and tap that subscribe button, because this series is still in experimental mode. Let's get started. How much money do you think you need to make to comfortably live in this area?
A buttload. I mean, if I were to guess, are you looking for like an annual?
Yeah, annual, like yearly.
I would probably say, depending on your preferences and your lifestyle, I would say over 100,000 to be comfortable.
This is like a hot take and it's changed quite a bit. I think previously I would have said like 90K, 75. Now I'm like, to live here, minimum 220, 230, which just is really rough.
I guess it's all relative. It depends on kind of what you want. I mean, I am fortunate that I live in a rent-stabilized apartment and, I'm responsible for others than myself. So I think comfortably, I'd say about 175 to 200.
So my perspective is I live alone. Supporting yourself completely in Brooklyn, I think comfortably, and you're going out to dinners with friends, you're not restricting yourself, I'd say 80K.
You're looking like maybe 100,000 and up, comfortably.
And why do you think so?
Because of rent, first of all. If you want to pay like a good amount of rent, like for a studio, it's like maybe like 1,900, 2,000. But then, maybe like a one bedroom, but that's without roommates.
At least like 100,000, I feel like. You got to be able to pay rent, buy groceries, and then obviously have a good time. So that's kind of roughly where I think I would put it at.
I think for a single person, it's like 200.
I definitely agree. I think for family, given that rent has gone up like a crazy amount, I think you need at least 400 to comfortably afford Brooklyn. But I think for an individual, I agree with 200K being a good amount.
So I'm going to disagree with both of them. Reason being is there's a lot of neighborhoods in Brooklyn, so depending on what neighborhood you're looking for, so it could be a wide range between 100 to 500,000. There's plenty of neighborhoods that are a lot more affordable comparable to Williamsburg.
How do you save money living in a very expensive area?
I am very conscious about making sure that I'm saving on the upfront. If I don't see my money, I won't spend my money. So I strategically split all my finances when I get my paychecks. I make sure they're all routed to the appropriate accounts. And I think it's just being mindful about not spending above your means and having your credit card with kick-ass points.
I do meal planning the way I eat and shop. I live in more of an immigrant community, so where they go, I go. And I also am old school, where I believe in the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. I go to the butcher shop, I go to the baker, and then I go to the fruit and vegetable stand. So I find that's a really good way to save money.
Yeah, I would say when I first got to New York, I was a little worried about the little fruit stands, especially out of trucks and stuff. But you're able to really find lemons for 1 cent. It's crazy.
Try to walk, try to utilize public transportation a lot. Like Ubers, we love them, but we also have the MTA, which should be free, by the way. It should be free. Take the ferry, things like that. Maybe try not to eat out too much. Make things at home. You know what's going in it when you cook from home, so.
The best saving tip I actually got from my students is 50% of your income should be for your needs, 30% for your wants, 20% for your savings. So I have an automated payment every paycheck I get to go right into my savings so I don't even see it. And that helps me keep my savings in my savings rather than be tempted to spend it before I see it in my checking account.
What's been the worst thing you've invested in?
Maybe like designer things. I know that's kind of unfortunate. I know people disagree with that, but I've bought like designer wallets and I end up not using them, and then I have to go to Buffalo Exchange and be like, hey, I have a $900 wallet. Can I get $200 for this?
I think my education, just because like student loans. So I have about like $80,000 worth of student loans. But I feel like there's so many resources online and like regarding graphic design. I can only speak for that. So it's like in retrospect, I wish I could have just like gone to like YouTube University versus like the school that I went to.
Probably crypto.
Oh my God, me
So
too.
yeah, crypto was the worst. So hopefully that all passes. I put it so far back in my mind that I'm not thinking about anything crypto related.
But could you share your crypto story and like how you got into it?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it was stupid. I feel embarrassed even mentioning it, but I got into it some time back when things were still on the up. Got in smart, but then made very poor decisions later as I was moving things around and jumping into other kind of avenues of that world.
Did you put any money in Dogecoin?
No, I didn't do that. I stuck with Ether.
Okay, that's smart.
Yeah, and then I just kind of let it sit there for a while until I made some more. And then I just recently made bad decisions with some NFT purchases, which were really stupid, but whatever. I got into it and it was dumb. It got sucked into this cult.
Would you ever put money into crypto or NFTs again?
Never in my life. I've lost what I feel comfortable losing, and I will never in my life invest into crypto or NFTs.
God, I think staying here too long. No, because I remember I used to live in Fort Greene, Brooklyn, and my younger self, I had an opportunity to buy a brownstone when it was between 200, 300,000. I know, right? And I didn't buy. Even when I left my rent stabilized apartment in Fort Greene, I started there at 7 and I left at 9:35. And that's just in stabilized buildings, but I've seen like property increase. So I've stayed too long because I didn't take advantage. Especially people who are younger than me, I think it's really hard right now, like, because income is not in proportion with having a decent quality of life. The amount of money that you need to survive here, you can, up until the pandemic, you could live, better.
During COVID, my roommates and I were really desperate to move out of our place because the rent actually went up, and we really quickly went into a place in Brooklyn that was horrible, that had roaches and mice. Because it had a great rent, it was $1,700 split 3 ways, so we rushed into it and it was horrible, and we paid for it in the long run. We had to move out and the moving costs were exorbitant.
What's been the best investment you've made?
Nvidia stock.
Oh really? Congrats.
Yeah.
Why'd you buy it in the first place?
Just like AI, just artificial intelligence in general. But also like during the pandemic, there was chip shortage and Nvidia is a chip maker. So just kind of like seeing the opportunity there. But honestly, like I think just stocks in general, like you got to be smart and do your research about it. But an Nvidia stock was definitely something I was happy that I got.
I guess my best investment, I'm investing into my relationship with him, and he invested into the Nvidia stock. Yeah. So we'll all work out. It'll all trickle down maybe.
Oh God. It's interesting because I've had the opportunity to purchase a home here, but I actually passed and ended up buying a weekend home upstate. So I think that probably would have been my best investment.
I don't have many investments, but I can confidently say my 401k. For sure. For me, it's like living paycheck to paycheck. I have to really cherry pick my investments, but that's something that I feel comfortable contributing even if it's tight for me because it's going to pay off in the end.
Can I say my dog? 100% my dog. Honey she's a rescue from South Korea, and she's 3 and she's adorable and she brings me so much joy, so that's my best investment.
I think it's just connections with people and just creating a little nest for yourself of whatever size or quality it may be, and just being comfortable where you are with yourself, I think. And that's the biggest investment you can make, is yourself. And kind of that well-being, that zen that exists within.
Honestly, moving to New York was a pretty big investment, and I'd say that was a big one.
In my relationship with my boyfriend and our puppy.
No one ever says that. So
I mean, it's an investment, right? It's an investment because it helps you in ways that money can't necessarily. It makes me a better person and probably allows me the mental strength and fortitude to save and say no to plans so that I can put money away.
My husband doesn't say his best investment was me. Like, I don't know. That was really sweet. What personal finance advice would you really give to people?
Honestly, the recurring payment is like the best thing that I feel like I've done for my personal finances, and I would recommend to other people, because for me, separating my money to my savings account makes me feel like I don't use it or need it until there's more of an emergency. So I would recommend that people do that, because that helps me separate it in my mind, even though it's all the same money.
If you can't afford it, don't buy it. If you don't have the money for it, don't buy it. Save it, put money aside for it, and then purchase.
Don't try to live above your means when you're not ready. It all comes with time, and you just gotta never force the issue. Just make sure that you're ready, and don't try to compare yourself to others. It's just gotta be about your own personal happiness.
I think don't amass debt, and try to just figure out a way to not overextend and navigate the world without like biting more than you can chew.
It's tempting. It's really hard to.
Yeah, I mean, people constantly just like, oh shit, you know, like they'll get fancy cars or fucking, you know, just open up a bunch of credit cards and kind of accrue that type of debt or amass that type of debt. And then there, you know, it's very difficult to climb out, to get out of it, because then, yeah, you're just forever making payments on things.
And then you can't retire, and you lose your.
Yeah, so that's really it. It's just you obtain that freedom either by making a lot of money or you reduce your expenses.
If you're living with your parents, there's no shame in that whatsoever. Save up. You have free food, free rent. Just save up.
Don't compare yourself to other people, because you never know, like somebody that's going out all the time, you don't know if they're racking up debt. So just don't compare yourself to others and know what you're working with, and definitely budget for what you want and what you think is important.
Start saving and investing as early as possible, and also, you know, make your money make money. So like, instead of your savings sitting in a bank account that has like a small return, you know, like think about other options where, you know, that money can make some money, and just kind of understanding what's a need and what's a want. I think that's like being self-aware of that.
I think the best advice is to continue. It might not be great, but I think it's continue to hustle and continue to believe in yourself. And I think it all starts from where that income is coming from. So being an advocate for yourself and your job and not taking anything less than you deserve is the biggest investment that you can make in your finances, because that just makes sure that like your lifestyle can be maintained and you can continue to invest in yourself and what you love.
When I first came out of college, I wasn't making the money that I am now, and I somehow at that time was really good at living off of whatever salary I had. But then like as you keep expanding and growing and you're making more money, I think your lifestyle also kind of seems to expand with it. Like now you're spending more on like food or clothes, whatever. So just being mindful of like trying to be proactive about saving and such.
We got a lot of really interesting responses from Brooklyn residents today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you want to see more videos like this, please make sure to tap that like button and smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.